Hey guys, Liam Ottley here, and today I've got a quick video breaking down general versus niched AI automation agencies, the two different methods or main methods in the market right now, and why choosing wrong could be the biggest mistake you make in your journey. So it's so vital that you pick the right one, and in this video I want to break it down and give you a step-by-step strategy. So here's the key takeaways: understand the key difference between niched and general AAAs, knowing the pros and cons of each of the models, deciding which one of these is best for your unique situation. And finally, I'll be ending the video with a 6-step action plan to start your own, depending on which one is right for you. So if by the end of the video, it's clear that a niched agency is right for you, you'll get a 6-step plan to start one. And if by the end of the video, a general one is clearly right for you, you're gonna get a 6-step process to start your own general agency. So let's get into it. For those of you who are new to the channel and don't know who I am, my name is Liam Ottley. I'm the creator of the AI automation agency or AAA model. I'm the founder of my own agency, Morningside AI. I've generated over 7 figures with my AI businesses since I started in the space in January last year. And I run the largest community of AAA owners in the world. And I've actually ended up hiring all of my friends. There's one of them in the background there. Casey, give us a wave. I've literally built the life of my dreams, and it all started with starting my own AI agencies. And for full transparency, because I know YouTube could do with a lot more of that, I make these videos so that I can educate you to start your own AI agency and successfully run one so that you can become a potential customer for the software that I make for successful AI agency owners. So the more money you make with AI automation agency and the one that you start, the more customers I have for my SaaS and the more I can potentially sell my SaaS for eventually. So if you don't win, I don't win. And that's why we're kind of in this thing together. So let's do this. General versus niche agencies. First example we can look at is in nature. So in nature, there are ecological niches. All organisms adapt through natural selection, if that's what you choose to believe, but they adapt to fulfill different ecological niches. And we have either specialists or generalists. In this case here, you can see a koala and a panda. They are specialists. They have a narrow niche. They're less adaptable because they have specialized needs. They are more likely to become extinct because they're less adaptable to change. They use a specific set of resources. I think koalas just eat eucalyptus leaves off eucalyptus trees all the time. So that you get the idea. Specialists are very narrow. They occupy one little area of the wider ecosystem, but they do it well and they escape competition by succeeding within the small niche. And then we have generalists who have a broad niche. They are adaptable to many environments, therefore less likely to become extinct, and they use a variety of resources to survive, right? So these are the two different types. You can see obviously we've got rats and raccoons as being generalists, and they're much more hardy. I mean, alligators and stuff like this that have been around basically unchanged for millions of years. And then we have specialists on the other side, and the specialists are typically where the majestic and interesting animals are, while generalists are sort of functional and they don't have too many frills. So we can learn a lot from nature and how these different organisms adapt and the benefits and drawbacks of being specialist or generalist, as you're going to see reappear throughout this presentation. So firstly, we have general agencies in the AI automation agency space. An example of this is my own agency, Morningside AI, which is basically if you want it, we can build it. So we have the capabilities and the team to basically deliver anything as long as it's within the realm of possibility, right? So this consists of a team of AI developers. We've got some low-code specialists as well that are a little bit cheaper. If you haven't seen my hiring video, I'd check it out up here. It's a very important one that I posted last week. And we have some front-end devs as well. So you're not always going to have front-end devs, but because we do some full platform build-outs at Morningside, we also have front-end devs on hand too. And the usual sales process for general agencies is a discovery call, you're then going to scope it, you do a proposal, and you sign the deal. So it's very much, what do you need? Let's figure it out. Let's get on the same page. Okay, this is how much it's going to cost. Great, let's get going. And so the pros and cons of the general agency model. The pros are firstly that you don't need an offer, and that if you set your agency up right and your lead generation systems are solid, people will be coming to you and telling you what they want. So because you don't need an offer and you don't need to identify what these people need and sell it to them, they're gonna come and tell you what they want. So it's a lot easier to start. You can say, we have the team, you have the problem, let us know what you want and we'll try to build it for you. So easier to start because you don't need to do market research and come up with an offer. Secondly, we have a larger TAM or total addressable market. I put an asterisk on the TAM because I think it's a bit silly to be talking about, oh, but my market's bigger than yours, because I mean, we're so new to it that there's very few service providers in these different niches. So that's not a major, but essentially you have a larger pool of people that you can sell to. Thirdly, as a general agency, you get to taste a lot of different niches because you're working with anyone who comes to you. You get to see how AI can be applied in different industries, which can be very helpful for you as the agency owner to build up a better mental model and understanding of how AI can help businesses. So at Morningside, I've learned so much from seeing the different businesses that we work with, and it helps me to communicate a lot of the stuff to you, which is why I know so much, basically. Number 4 is that as a general agency, you're more nimble and adaptable by not being specifically focused on one niche or one offer. You're able to change and update whenever you need to. So when OpenAI drops an update, you can go back to clients and say, hey, look, GPT-5's come out. Do you want this? Or there's this new product coming out from Google. Okay, do you want this? You're very nimble and adaptable. Or you can start offering consulting and you can pivot in any direction you want. And that's the last point here, which is you can always niche down later. So if you are nimble, you do see a good opportunity, then you can narrow down your agency to a specific area, which is what I recommend you guys doing if you start an agency like a general one. Then we have the cons of the general agency. Firstly, because you're a general agency, you're not seen as a specialist, and therefore the value of your services is perceived as lower by the people that you're going to be selling to, which can be an issue. If you were AI, I mean, hypothetically, if you had an e-commerce customer and you had two agencies competing for it, one was a specialized e-commerce AI agency and one was just a general agency, which one would you choose, right? So that's the basic concept of not being seen as a specialist. Secondly, you have lower reusability and therefore lower profits. So this goes back to what I covered in my hiring video as well that I recommend you go watch. But when you are selling as a general agency, you're likely going to be taking clients from all different industries. Every single time someone comes in, it's going to be new and you need to plan it and build it from scratch. So there's less reusability between clients. But if you're doing a niche agency, as you're going to see in a second, you can sell basically the same thing over and over and over again, just with minor tweaks between them. So less reusability, you're building it from scratch every time, therefore means there's lower profits because there's more time and man hours being put into every single one of those projects in general. You can tweak around the margins, etc. But as a general rule of thumb, it's going to be lower profits. Thirdly, as a general agency, you're likely not going to have any offers and say, we build X for Y amount of money. You can. I've seen some people experiment with it, but I haven't done it myself. But it's harder to market yourself when you don't have an offer. You don't know who you're supposed to reach out to, and you can't really angle it and say, we make X for Y businesses by doing Z. So it makes it a little bit harder to market your services. Fourth, we have a higher complexity and therefore a higher issue rate. So if you're building custom coded stuff from scratch every time, or you're building not necessarily custom coded, but if you're building custom projects from scratch every time to the client's needs, you're therefore going to have a higher issue rate. You're going to have more problems that come up because when you're reinventing the wheel every time and coming up with a new solution, you're to some degree testing and making a hypothesis and seeing if that's right. And when it's wrong, you have to go back and continue to work on the project and bring more developers in, etc. So a higher issue or problem rate typically results in lower client satisfaction and also lower profits because you're tending to spend more time going back and paying your developers to work on the same problem that you've already solved. So it's highly inefficient if you don't have the right talent. Number 5 one here is less compounded credibility. And this comes from by doing projects in a bunch of different niches and you're not consistently delivering one or building up some kind of track record. When you go to pitch another client and they say, what have you done? Well, I've done 10 other projects in completely different industries. Your perceived expertise is lower and therefore it's going to be harder to close those deals and you won't be able to charge as much. So as we'll see with the niche example, it's a lot different there, but you have less compounding credibility because all of your projects spread out across different industries. Next point here is that you're going to need more expensive devs. This is because if you're building on request and you're building custom solutions for your clients each time, then you're going to need to hire people who are smarter or have more experience and are better able to solve problems and architect solutions as well. So you're naturally going to be spending more to get developers who are capable enough to come up with these custom solutions every time. And finally, there's actually less bang for your buck for your clients when you are doing custom development solutions. A good example of this is a student of mine, Isaiah, who's built an AI appointment setting system for Instagram DMs for coaches. And I believe it's a $5,000 package at the moment with some usage attached to it. He can sell that to his clients for $5,000 plus usage, right? Because he's put in all the work and he's built the product and he now has a thing that he can just reuse and resell. So he can sell it for $5,000 because he knows he's going to be able to sell multiple of it. But if that same client came to me and my team at Morningside and we do everything custom and from scratch, when they come to us, I'd need to charge them $30,000, $50,000, $60,000 just to try and rebuild what Isaiah and his team as a niche agency have done. So the client is technically getting less bang for their buck. They're having to pay more to get the same thing if you are always doing custom projects as a general agency. So next we have niche agencies, which is basically you have a problem and I've built the solution. You have a single product or even a suite of products that address some problems within a given niche or market. And for your team, you need to have some kind of product lead or lead developer who's leading the development of the product and improvement, and a team of deliverers potentially. So you can have a guy who's, okay, this is our product, this is what we need to do, these are the new features we need to add, and they can build. But then whenever a new client comes in and says, hey, I want to buy your niche solution, you just have some junior developers who your lead developer or product lead can actually pass the template to one of your junior developers and they can go and deliver it for the client. So you've got the brains and you've got some junior developers who can actually do the grunt work of delivering it to the different clients as you onboard them. So as I said, my student Isaiah has this AI appointment setting system for Instagram DMs for coaches. And this is his website here. And they clearly specialize in chatbots, in this case, AI appointment setting systems for their businesses. So Jumping into the pros and cons, and the pros of the niche agency are naturally the inverse of the general agency. So you are seen as a specialist, you have higher reusability and therefore higher profits. You have a clear offer, so it's easier to market yourself and really laser target the people that you're trying to contact and say things that connect with them and make them want to purchase. And fourth, you have a lower complexity when you're doing the delivery and therefore a lower issue rate, because these delivery junior developers are just going to be taking the system or the template that you provided, and they can just copy and paste it across different people and tweak it based on the client's needs. Therefore, you have a lower issue rate because you're not building it from scratch every time. And I have an asterisk here just to point out that the lower complexity is only after you've built that first version or a satisfactory version of the product, and then it's relatively easy to distribute that out. But the building of a solid product that provides real value is very difficult, as you can see on the con side. So fifth point here is that you get more compounded credibility. You're selling the same thing over and over, and you can say, we've helped 20 businesses just like you to achieve XYZ, and you get real data points, and suddenly you're making much more compelling offers. And finally, you get to use less expensive devs for those deliverers. Once you're actually distributing it and putting it onto clients' businesses, you can use less expensive devs that don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. Jumping into the cons, these again are kind of the inverse of the pros of the general model, and that you first need to solve a real problem. Therefore, it is harder to start. You need to identify, do some market research, or understand a niche yourself, be able to identify something and say, there is a problem in the industry, I think I can solve it with AI. And then you need to actually build the solution. So it's a lot harder to start because you might spend 3 months thinking you're solving a problem and getting to the end and realizing no one wants it, which is really the risk with the general agency. Secondly, you have a smaller total addressable market, again, with an asterisk, because you're narrowing down to serving only a certain set of people. You're less nimble and adaptable. So if OpenAI drops a big update and just wipes you out, if you're not careful, that's a real risk for running a niche agency and something you need to factor into your decision to go into one. Fourth point here is that it's hard to generalize and step back once you've niched down. So say I build automation systems for XYZ niche that solve XYZ problem. And I base my whole agency and my whole brand around, we do this very specific thing. It's hard if you bought the domain and made the website and talked to a whole bunch of people and made a whole bunch of posts on your YouTube channel. It's hard to generalize and roll back after that if you've already niched down. So that's one of the cons, is that it's really hard to go. It's easy to go down, it's hard to go back. And finally, creating a good product that actually solves a problem and that people want to climb it over hand and fist to get access to is hard. Finding product market fit is hard, but once you can achieve it and once you get there, it is worthwhile. And so with these in mind, which one is best for you in your unique situation? So for general agencies, if you don't have any clear experience in a niche, say you haven't worked in the accounting space or the financial services industry for 10, 20 years, and you don't really understand a niche inside out, you haven't maybe run a business in the space before and understand, I had a landscaping business. I know that that's a really big problem and I could very easily go in and solve it. If you don't have clear experience that's giving you ideas for problems to solve, then a general agency is probably the best option. And secondly, if you don't have a bunch of connections that can allow you to start having conversations with business owners in a certain area that can give you insights on what problems you're out to solve, or have connections that you can sell to or use as referral partners to distribute your solutions later on once it's done. So if you don't have experience, you don't have clear connections, then a general agency is probably the best route for you. And starting a general agency doesn't require a ton of upfront capital. I didn't have to invest a huge amount of money into Morningside to get it off the ground. I just started making my YouTube videos and we were off to the races once the leads started coming in. And if you are new to business, a general agency can be a better starting point for people getting into entrepreneurship as well. It allows you to learn the skills more slowly and gradually than to throw yourself headfirst into a niche agency. Now for a niche agency, if you have the industry experience, like I said, you know the pain points of a given industry and you can go straight in there and say, I'm going to solve this problem. If you have a strong pool of connections that you can start using to distribute the solution once it's done, that's great. If you do have some capital on hand or you have some money that you can invest into building a solution, you might need to go to a developer or a development team and say, I know what I need, here's the money, build it, and then I can go and sell it. So that's in the case where some capital will be very helpful for you in starting your niche agency. And finally, being experienced in business can be very helpful when you're starting a niche agency because you understand how a business works overall. Okay, there's sales teams, there's lead generation, there's this. When you understand end-to-end how businesses work, it's much clearer and it's much easier to identify where you can provide value. So just pause the video now, have a think. Is based on these criteria on screen, is a general one best for me or is a niche agency best for me? And the way I've formatted this should help. If it's bolded, you have to have it. So if you're going to choose niche, you have to have the industry experience. You have to have a strong pool of connections, but these are nice to have. But if you're looking at being a general agency owner, you shouldn't have any significant experience and you shouldn't have any significant connections, in which case you would have been over there. So make sure that you stick to the way that I formatted these, because these are nice to haves, these are must-haves. So now that you know which type of agency is best for you need the 6-step strategy on how to start. So with general agencies, this is the fastest route to start and get up and running that I would recommend. Firstly, start a personal brand, as I've done here on YouTube, whether that's LinkedIn, YouTube, Medium, or Twitter, whatever you want to choose, just pick one and do it well. Secondly, you need to start tinkering with AI solutions and learn the platforms that I talk about here on the channel. So you need to at least become familiar with the tools that we use to deliver solutions and get an idea of, okay, this is the value that I can start to create. So at least a fundamental understanding can be gained from tinkering around and watching my tutorials. Thirdly, you need to start sharing your builds and your learnings on your personal brand platform, whether that's LinkedIn or YouTube, etc. This is going to start to build your authority and also lead to growth on these platforms as well. This is what I've done on YouTube. You can scroll back and see my entire history of doing this on this channel. So fourth, you need to offer free consulting calls that can help businesses with AI. And this can be done through posting, say on LinkedIn, you're making posts and saying, hey, if you're interested, you can book a consulting call with me here for free. And at the same time, you should also be doing warm reach outs to anyone that you have access to and saying, hey, would anyone that you know be interested in the stuff that I've been posting about on my LinkedIn or on my YouTube? So using content and warm reach outs is how you're going to start to have conversations with business owners, which is going to lead you down the road towards actually signing your first couple of clients. And in this case, number 5, I say start working for free. So use the skills that you've got from tinkering around, start to put it into practice and actually working with real businesses and real systems and real data. It's really key to step up from tinkering to actual delivering, or at least mocking up some prototypes for these free clients. And finally, once you've got the ball rolling and you've got some rhythm, you're building your confidence, you can then start to increase your prices and hire your first developer using the video that I've mentioned already, which will be down in the description if you didn't catch it up there. Next, as a niche agency, it's a bit of a different strategy. Firstly, you need to identify a problem to solve, and this should be either from your experience or using your connections experience to identify the problem that you want to solve. So once you've got a problem to solve, you can then start to create the prototype yourself by tinkering around with the tools, same sort of thing, or you can hire a developer, and I recommend doing that through my school community. Go onto the school, first link in the description, free to sign up, put a post up. Hey, I have clients in XYZ niche who really want me to build XYZ for them. Is there anyone in here who can do it for me? Number 3, once you have a working prototype, or a first version of the product that you're looking to sell, go and show it to your warm connections and ideally find your first client from one of them and start to implement it and test it on their business. Step number 4 is to continually invest in improving this product until that client is happy. So put in the work, put in the hours, invest money, whatever you need to do to continue to iterate this product towards being something that you can actually start charging for. Number 5, you need to start finding more people like that first client that you helped and got a happy result for. Using strategies like warm reach outs, contact people that you know and say, hey, I built this thing. Would you or someone you know be interested in trying it out in their business? XYZ. You can also start posting content on these different platforms. You can start running ads if you want, and you can even start doing cold reach outs or cold outreach to different people who have never even heard of you before. And step number 6 is to continue improving the product, continue increasing your prices as you go, and before you know it, you're running a successful niche agency. Alrighty, so key takeaways, making sure that I've done everything I said I'd do in this video. Firstly, you understand the difference between a niche and general AI automation agency, correct? Secondly, you know the pros and cons of each. Thirdly, you've decided on which one is best for you. And finally, you have a clear plan on your next steps. So guys, if you've enjoyed, please hit down below and leave a like, subscribe to the channel while you're down there if you're interested in more content like this, teaching you how to start and scale your own AI agency. While you're down there, you'll see a link to my free school community, which I highly recommend you join if you want to be part of the space. You can hire in there, network, etc. There's also a link down there to work with my agency, Morningside AI, if you have any custom AI solutions you need built. And there's a link you can click on if you want to learn more about my AI Agency Accelerator, where we guarantee 5 clients for you with your AI agency if you start with us. If you want to check out another one of my videos here, I highly recommend you watch that. But aside from that, that's all for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.